So you've tried everything and you just can't get anybody to like your videos, your reels, your posts, your memes, anything on Instagram, Facebook, and the rest of the social media platforms. Well, I can promise you that you haven't done the one thing that is free and easy to do that I'm going to talk about today on Bimoto's AI Power 20. Make sure that you like and subscribe because every week I send out free information on how to get the most from your social media, to get the most from your AI, how to write better prompts, and really just how to expand and grow your business. So I was doing this training the other day for a lot of people in Latin America. And on it, I was talking in Spanish, of course, but I had a really great gal get on and she said, Jeff, I've been following all the advice on how to do reels and how to get people to come and how to write the best captions and how to do the best videos and do the best topics. But nobody is watching my videos. Nobody goes to my reels. Nobody comments. Hey, we've all been there. In fact, I remember when I first started getting really into Instagram, I bought $1,000 course from a famous course creator, and this guy had hundreds of thousands of followers, and he gave every single step by step of what you have to do. Well, of course, I did it. Of course, it didn't work. And of course, I was frustrated after spending $1,000 and going through this step by step, minute by minute, implementing, taking notes, and doing everything I was supposed to. Well, let's talk the real world here for a second. I'm going to put on the screen here, and I'm going to put right here. These are the analytics of a client. And this client came to me and he said the same thing, which is I tweet, this is his Twitter account, his X account, and I can't get anybody to follow me. I can't get anybody to respond to me. What in the heck do I do? Well, let's get into that. Let's talk about what in the heck you do to get people to respond to you. So, the best example I can give you is when you go to, oh, maybe some people don't even do these anymore, but in the old days, we used to go to chamber events, we used to go to networking events, we used to go to mixing events. I never liked them. I was never great at them, but I did it because it made me money and because I got to be in front of people. But it was difficult to do. But I can tell you the new way of doing this is so much easier. But when you went to these events, you didn't get up there and get in front of the whole crowd and start pitching in front of them. No, you mixed, you talked, you responded to people, you listened to people. And if you were smart, you listened a lot more than you talked. And when somebody said something, you confirmed them, you gave them good feedback, you had a real conversation, and if you were smart, you were looking them in the eyes while you were doing it. Let's look at what this guy did here. In this, on this is probably the most important thing right here. The posts and the replies. He has, in a matter of 90 days, gone from just a few verified followers to almost 1,000 verified followers with over 5 million impressions. That means he's monetized. So he goes from basically zero right over here at the 1st of December to 5.3 million views with a good engagement rate, that everything's going up, his engagements, and here's the magic, the profile visits. And as cool as this is to see all of this growing, except for this one point right here where he was retooling some things, look at what he's doing. He's replying. I've talked about this a whole bunch on the trainings that I do. You have to post. You have to have a good profile. You have to have a good picture. You have to have the right things in your profile. You have to have a link to eventually send people to your product or service. But if you really want to get some attention, go out and give some love. Go out and reply to people. If you look at this, he's doing sometimes up to 225 replies per day with only a couple posts. I bet you anything, if you're not getting the attention, you're not doing that. I bet you anything, you're not going out and listening to what people are saying and looking them in the eyes. And I can tell you, some people may say, well, I don't know how to reply to people. Well, I'll show you how to do it really quickly with X, but this applies to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. It doesn't matter where you're at, on TikTok, this works. And if you don't know what to write and how to be good at writing, well, start off by going to Bimoto. And inside of Bimoto, look for the template engaging social media responses. So how do you find that? Inside the templates, let's go to the template area. Let's go to where you'll see, let me get rid of all the searches here. So all you've got to do is go to all. I've got this as my favorite, so I'll pull the favorites off. I'll just type in engaging social media responses, and then boom, it's right there. Okay, so I'm going to go into this new conversation I created beforehand called engagement responses, and this pulls it up. So you fill it out once, and then you take the next 30 minutes to an hour and a half and just respond to people. You're going to see that there's so many people just like you that are getting 1, 2 views, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 likes, and you're going to make their day. But you're going to go after the people that could possibly be in your network. About 80% of them are the type of people that you want to do business with, that you want to network with, people that will follow you back if you follow them. And together, you'll be able to raise each other's boats. You'll be able to improve each other's metrics by following the right people who interact with you and like your videos. So let's just do this. Let's do X, the name of the influencer. I pulled up a guy that I reference quite a bit, that I've learned a lot of things from, Alex Hormozi. I'm just going to grab his response. Now this is easy in X and LinkedIn because most of it's text based. But if it's a video, just watch the video really quickly and then just type in a little bit about that video right here in the post of the influencer. In the type of the response, I haven't read it, but I'm going to put agree, but be provocative. Now, one of the things I can tell you is you want to be provocative. You don't want to just be boring. And especially if that other 20%, I said 80%, talk to people that you know, or people that you want to be your customers, or people that are basically your equivalent. Some of them higher, some of them lower, but together you're going to grow. But the thing is don't just put in what everybody else does. Love this. Couldn't agree more. So put in here, be provocative. Don't be boring. In fact, I'll just put there, don't be boring. Make people want to read this. Give it the instruction. I don't like to use emojis, so I'll put no emojis on there. Now, the famous person filter, I put the same thing in here. You, for example, if you're doing politics, you could put a politician that to make sure that it doesn't write things that you don't agree with. Now, understand that most most AI is created by liberal organizations. So if you're pro-business, maybe they're not as pro-business. Maybe they're just pro their business. So you may want to make sure that you program the AI to say what you want it to say. So in this case, though, I always like to program it very thoroughly with my avatar. And I've done lots of videos showing you how to program your avatar within Bimoto, but there's a couple things that I've done right here. This is, I'm not going to erase this, but I'm just going to grab it. Use emotional trigger words. I've uploaded emotional trigger words. If you need help with that, let me know and I'll show that to you on the next training. So I'm going to put in here and I'm going to say reference my avatar. I've got my avatar right here. Reference my avatar and the reference files right here. These are emotional trigger words. And the other thing that I have in here that I've trained it on is my brand voice. So I'm just going to grab my brand voice right here. And this has all kinds of examples of how I like things to be written. Now, that's not a famous person. So you could put in there, if you're a Democrat, you could put Chuck Schumer. Or if you're, if you're, I don't know, put AOC in there. If you're a Republican, put Elon Musk, put Donald Trump. That way, if you're doing a political response, it's going to respond that way. If you're a business person, put in there Warren Buffett. And that would be almost like a fact checker that would make sure that it would apply to the same beliefs that Warren Buffett has. The tone of response in here, I'm also going to put the same thing in here because I really want to make sure that it uses my better examples of that. But the tone of response, you could just put happy, enthusiastic. But I would encourage you to put in there to have it be provocative, to have it create thoughts in the people who read it. I want 5 examples of it, and I want them to be, oh gosh, how long is this response by Hermosi right here? Oh, that's just right around 150 or so characters, maybe a little bit close to 200. So I don't want my response to be longer than his. So some people will say, well, isn't it just easier, Jeff, to isn't it easier just to type it in yourself? Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I've done this enough different times, I can just knock these out. But if you do this for 30 minutes to 45 minutes at a time, you may want some help. You may want some ideas. And it always runs a little bit slower when you're running your avatar because it has to go through those files and then it has to be able to get the responses that you want in there. So just understand that sometimes when you're running an avatar, it may be a little bit slower. So that's why you're going to want to multitask. I'm not the best at multitasking, but I'll go through and I'll find different people, open up a couple screens, and get ready to be able to respond to them quickly. Now, I've already responded to him right here, and nothing big of value doesn't, that's not great English, but it doesn't matter with Twitter, have a lot of boring, mundane, challenging, difficult aspects to it. Now, I just wrote that in response to him. I've got a couple likes from it, 31 views, and I did that just about 44 minutes ago. So if you're looking, and there's going to, a lot of times, if you're provocative enough, then you're going to get other people responding and replying to you. Okay, so let's go back to it. It's giving me the responses. A lot of times I'll say stuff like this, couldn't agree more. I try to avoid that because a lot of people say it, but it gives me 5 different responses. Absolutely agree, but here's the kicker. It's not just ignorance, it's a choice. Every time you run from the struggle, you're giving up on your chance to grow. By the way, that's better than the one I came up with. What I should do is erase that and put this one right here. It's good and it's provocative and it makes people think. Here is my promise. It's not just the clients of mine that implement this. The people that do this on all the different platforms, we could go on to my Instagram account, and you can see that I certainly have gotten to the point where I've got a good number of followers. I've got a lot of people watching it, but it's not my tribe. My tribe isn't necessarily on there. So I've gone from, instead of posting 6-7 times a week, I'm spending more time on LinkedIn. And this strategy works crazy well on LinkedIn. To find people, you can see right inside of here, I've got the Sales Navigator for just over $100 a month. I have the ability to find some of the most amazing people and interact with them. So here's the kicker. You say, all right, so is this going to get me the views? Yeah, then initially that's what you want, is you want the views, you want the followers, right? Doesn't matter which platform of mine I go to. Let's go to TikTok. I'm converting this all over into Spanish. I think I've got about 10,000. Let's go right here. Whoops. I'm going to do that. So on my TikTok account, I've got about, I'm going to stop talking there. I've got about 10,000 followers on there. So let's follow that. There it is. 9,683. But I'm switching this all over to my Spanish one. On this one, sometimes I get 2 million views when I post it. 6,600, 10,700, lots of interactions. It doesn't matter which platform I go to. If I implement this strategy, people will respond. So then what happens when people respond? Then what do you do? Well, I've prepared for you, if this is of interest to you, the next step. It's called a DM message. Once you start to interact with them, the same way you would as if you were at a party, right? The same way that you would at anywhere else, you of course have to start to interact. And once you've interacted with them, then you can offer something after you've listened to them. And I've created this DM message in platforms, which I'm going to convert into templates on Bimodo on how to easily respond to people. But it's just an initial, after you've interacted with them, you followed them, they've followed you back, you've had some interaction on each other's posts, then you can start to send them direct messages. Really easy, nice direct messages, which is, hey, I noticed your work in a specific area and thought we might have some common interests. Would love to connect and exchange ideas. What drives me crazy on LinkedIn, on X, and all these others is people just go right for the sell. I don't know about you, but when I was dating 27 years ago. I didn't go for the kiss right when I went to the door. Maybe I guess, I don't know. It's turned out pretty well with my marriage, 5 kids and 27 years later. You wine them, you dine them, you take them out to dinner, you talk, you interact, you're nice, you're human, and then you go for the kiss, right? Well, it drives me crazy on social media when people are just constantly sending me all these messages, the first thing that they see from me. And I'm going to show some people, and I don't even care if it embarrasses them. Probably aren't watching it anyway. So let's go into my messages that I get. And you can see that people just keep inviting right here. Started a mixer, sent a link, sell, 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 sell. Come on, people, interact with me, at least pretend that you're interested in me. So let's get back to what we said at the beginning. How do you create interest in you? Well, you show some interest in other people. And how do you show interest in other people? You see what they wrote, you plug them right into Bimoto right here, and you get some great responses. You show value. You don't just say 100% agree, fella. It's like, come on, interact with them, give them some value. And if you use these, make sure that it sounds good and doesn't sound like an AI bot wrote it. That's why I always train mine with trigger words. I tell it not to be politically correct, and it enables me to knock out 30, 40, 50 responses in less than 30 minutes. If you start to do this, it's a promise. The same way that I promised this gentleman right here, he's like, okay, Jeff, I'll trust you. And then when he retooled because he saw some of his messages weren't working, boom, he got more interaction and more views. He's getting hundreds of thousands of views some days, almost always above 100,000 views now. He starts the day in the morning with 33,000 views, 5.3 million impressions with right around 14,000 profile visits, with hundreds of thousands, over $100,000 of engagements, people bookmarking what he's done, they're reposting what he's done. He's got 59 likes, and he does it by showing love first. You show some love, you get them interacting with you, and then you use this handy little worksheet right here. Be on the call every Wednesday at 2 Mountain, 4 Eastern. And I am constantly giving you these things. So look in the description below. And in the description below, I've got the invitation to be on my newsletter. Make sure that you subscribe and like these videos. That way they come to your inbox every single week. And you've got these secret clues that they seem so obvious afterwards. It's all we do all day with our team is look for these things, test these things, implement these things so they can work better for you. Can't wait to see you on the call on Wednesday. Ask your questions here. Give me some ideas. Give me some suggestions of where you're having some troubles. And let's find a way to have Bimoto AI make it easier for you. So you want to make your page blow up, you want to make your social media blow up, start showing some love, and maybe you'll get some love back. It's no maybe. It happens every time. Talk to you soon.